Russia is taking to the streets again. Red Square is turning into a symbol of fear and anger. Nationalists, musicians, artists are rebelling, even those who just yesterday were shouting for the motherland.
And shit, it's about to start.
The FSB is conducting raids. Young people are being thrown into police vans, and already words are being spoken at the Kremlin walls. They're being lined up against the wall. The country is entering a new spiral of repression and panic. Breaking news, friends. New protests are happening at the Kremlin. Moscow Red Square, now the center of protest and fear. Every evening, new groups gather there. Nationalists, liberals, artists. Some shout, "Enough with the war." Others, "Putin has betrayed us." They are united by one thing: hatred of the Kremlin and exhaustion from a senseless dictatorship. At this very moment, Moscow is suffocating from its own raids. The FSB and the National Guard are clearing the squares. They're grabbing young people and dragging them into police vans. There are dozens of detainees on Red Square. Among them are artists, musicians, and street singers. Everyone who dared to sing, write, or simply speak is now considered an extremist. The FSB is reacting as it did in the 1930s. Young people are being grabbed right in the metro, and police vans are stationed in the squares. According to eyewitnesses, people are being detained even for solitary pickets. The police do not give any reasons, just say it's a special operation. At this very moment, nationalists are marching in Lyubertsy, a suburb of Moscow. They are protesting against Putin. More than 100 men in masks and jackets bearing the symbols of the Russian community marched through the streets, shouting slogans like "Russia for Russians." Hundreds of nationalists are marching in Lyubertsy. Masks, torches, and songs about a great Russia. The police pretend not to see, but this is not a patrol. It's a new wave of Russian chauvinism. The very same athletic guys who started the gangs of the 90s. This is no coincidence. It's a reaction to the regime's decay. When the authorities lose control, those who believe only in force take to the streets. The police stay silent because these are their people, the very ones who were called patriots just yesterday. In Perm, street singer Ekaterina Romanova was detained. She was singing in support of the arrested musicians from the band Stop Time. Anti-war, anti-Putin songs. They say,
"Let the right legs take longer strides and we keep going in circles, but I say we'll make it along the path, there are lights ahead."
Now a second case is being brought against her for organizing an unauthorized concert. The singer said, "I just want to sing without the risk of ending up behind bars." Song. But today in Russia, even a song against Putin, against the war, is a form of protest. At the same time, a smear campaign is underway. Kremlin bots have flooded social media. They are demanding real prison sentences for the artists. They call them traitors, comparing them to terrorists. The TV channel Tsargrad has even drawn parallels between the musician and Daria Trepova, who killed the war correspondent. Any emotion, any song is declared a threat. A threat to Putin, a threat to the Kremlin regime.
Where exactly were you for 8 years, can you tell me? Let the beautiful, graceful swans dance. Let them dance for their shimmering lake, where the elegant crest gently ripples and a nightingale softly sings on the willow frame screens. Let the swans dance. Let them dance with poise and grace, celebrating their tranquil, peaceful home. Let the swans dance. Many people have heard these words from Noise MC's song about Swan Lake, but never have they sounded so clear, so loud, and so convincing as they did on this square, performed by this huge crowd of people. And those to whom these words are addressed, those very fucking inhumans, are starting to realize that they are the fucking inhumans. And this describes them very precisely, very meaningfully, very convincingly. And this phrase has a chance to really stick to them. Just as back in the day, the phrase crooks and thieves stuck, now the phrase fucking people will stick to them. And that's absolutely right. I fully approve of this.
The migrant protests in the Moscow region and in Moscow haven't even died down yet, nor have the migrant riots against Muscovites. And already the nationalists have announced their own new uprising. And while some are being jailed for singing songs, others are being called to guard oil refineries. In
connection with the emerging threat of the Ukrainian armed forces using long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, there is now a risk of strikes on critical aviation facilities and other residential areas in the Tyumen region.
reservists are being lured into work. 30 to 50,000 rubles for the risk of dying in the next explosion. This isn't an army, it's a meat grinder. The regime is literally holding the country together with fear and
In order to increase the level of protection for critical medical facilities, a decision has been made to employ the most well-trained, patriotically minded citizens to defend these sites. A reservist is considered to be a citizen who is in the reserve, has signed a contract with the Ministry of Defense, is medically fit, and is between 18 and 50 years old. The main difference between a reservist and armament: a contract serviceman is distinguished by the fact that he combines his regular work with being in the reserve. I would like to note that reservists who are called upon to protect important critical facilities are not involved in the special military operation and will carry out their duties in the region where the critical facility is located. In our case, this is the Tyumen region. I would like to point out that the period of service in this reserve is 60 days. A mandatory requirement is that reservists must undergo compulsory training for 14 days under the guidance of experienced specialists and instructors at the Tyumen Engineering School. And
against the backdrop of this madness, Ilya Medvedev's words, "The death penalty is sometimes useful," take on a certain meaning. The phrase, as if it had come from his father's mouth, has simply become a meme. But Russians are in no mood to laugh. Firing squad was. Zelenogradsky is now absolutely not a metaphor.
Instead of installing proper, comfortable benches on the renovated Zelenogradsky promenade, they put this here. What is this even for, and how is one supposed to use it? I've heard that these benches are called firing squad walls. It's unclear what the city administration was thinking when they designed this, but it was clearly not about making things comfortable and convenient for people. What do you think about these standing benches? Will they ever put in proper ones, or will they just leave this?
People see in them a reflection of the future, where not even songs remain. Today, Russia stands between a song and a police van, between the square and the wall. And even if the Kremlin once again declares that everything is under control, that it's all over, control has been lost. And now fear exists on both sides of the barricades.
Listen again, as if to remove from every niche. We'll have to give and to reach, and I give the night, just like a meeting. She too is just in case, like my own red bat. But I won't yield to her, not a single dash, not even behind my back. I move forward as if we walk. Friends, there are mass protests near St. Petersburg, in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Perm, and other regions of Russia. There are police vans, the FSB, and other special services tracking young people who sing anti-war and anti-Putin songs. And of course, there are far-right groups in the center of Moscow and migrant riots. All of this shows that the Kremlin is losing its power. Friends, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, Dasha, and now let's take a look at a breakdown of top-tier Russian propaganda. To me,
it seems that if psychologically it's impossible for a woman But the doctor-psychologist explains that this is a living life, and today other people are in need of this living life. I want to tell you that in our country, for a number of reasons, there are now a lot of childless couples who cannot have a baby. And the waiting list for adopting small, healthy children is very long. I think that maybe a different approach is needed here. Yes, agree with the woman that maybe in the future she doesn't want this child, but this child can live in another family.
But the scariest thing is that we men, it's like we go crazy, while women, they manage to handle their own. In other words, without a man, a woman is tossed around like a leaf, because she is meant to be part of a man, you see. She was taken from him, and she is supposed to join with him. She cannot exist on her own. Do you understand? That's the point. That's why men are kind of foolish and scary. These foolish men are raised by single mothers who themselves have matured alone all the time. You see how frightening that is. That's how it is. That's why Christianity is becoming, sick and frightening in general. And you wonder, what should we do? So, according to the canons, no one should be allowed to take communion.
Roughly speaking, a squadron of 18 Poseidons would completely destroy the very concept of the US as a maritime civilization. Because in that case, all bases, all major port cities, and all infrastructure within a roughly 30 to 40 kilometer zone would be wiped out. And just for a moment, that's where 75% of the US population lives. And moreover, I repeat, the Americans simply have nothing to counter these strikes with, literally nothing. That is, no aircraft carriers, no super secret, covert US submarine can do anything about it, because not a single torpedo is capable of catching up with our torpedo. They simply don't have that kind of speed. So unless there's a sudden accidental head-on collision, it won't really change anything, because a megaton warhead in that case... A megaton? Well, no, I mean in the amount of a megaton.
Continued, yes, megaton. I said, Vladimir Vladimirovich, it will be more than what Sarmat has.
You say, let's hit Kiev. That's just a worm. It's a worm. Where did it even come from? And now let's...
Now, why are you
arguing about this? Why go?
I will tell you this. Leave Kiev. It will be easier. Leave Kiev.
Listen, Vladimir Vladimirovich, just leave, because they're already...
just got up and walked out? Just like the guys in Belgorod are forced to do now? Am I supposed to feel sorry for the people of Kiev now? Not a chance. There's no life as it is. Not a chance. That's it. Kiev is gone. And it will never exist again. Why? Because you have cursed this city. You have betrayed it. You have betrayed its sacred places. You have defiled them. You have no right to be there. Because you are demons who have betrayed your own history and your own faith. Cleansing water and fire? You said it yourself. On our broadcast referring to prophecies, the clergy. Let's assume the worst case scenario. We are working under conditions of complete isolation.
Well, we'll just keep living under these conditions.
No, we'll just finally switch to other types of weapons. Finally, we'll strike with full force. That's it. Enough playing around. Let's just finally wipe them off the face of the earth and be done with it.
Regarding weaponry, that's actually a very important thing, because if, well, Oreshnik, is that what you're insisting on? Are you really talking about Paris, London, and all the rest? No, not Paris or London. It's Washington, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles. We
can just easily fly around several times like that. Not from us.
It didn't come from us.
And not from us. Who came from where? That's even possible. Well, let's assume the worst case scenario. We're working in conditions of complete isolation. So what?
So what? We'll just keep staying in these conditions?
No, we'll just finally switch to other types of weaponry. Finally, we'll strike with full force. At last, we'll stop playing around and just do it here. We'll finally just wipe everything off the face of the earth and be done with it.
Regarding weaponry, that's actually a very important thing, because if it's like, say, the hazel tree, that's what... Is that what you're insisting on? Is it really Paris, London, and all the rest? No, not Paris or London. It's Washington, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles.
We can just fly around several times like that. Not from us.
It didn't come from us.
And not from us. Who came from where? In war, it's not this side or that side that wins. But the furious ones, the ones who break the will to resist. So I'll say it again, now we finally started to take things out to hell. There will be no life in Kharkiv or Poltava or Mykolaiv or Odessa. These cities won't exist, Kiev won't exist. If the civilians don't realize that they've been chosen as expendable material, and don't overthrow your Nazi government, no strength to do it, at least leave those cities. Understand that you're being used as a human shield. No strength to leave? I'm sorry. Let me remind you of the fate of Sodom and Gomorrah. There were surely some residents there too who simply could not leave. They were just forced to live there.
These guys are with me. If someone asks over there where soon our call will echo across the world, where the dawn will break on the horizon, where we'll cast our shadow again, like a burdensome load we finally dropped, get up, for God's sake, I won't leave you here. There will be a bright streak in this darkness that won't let up. Snow on our feet, 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 snow on our feet. Our feet will reach for the heavens on a sheet of dawn's rays in envious colors. Tanya is crying, but there will be a bright streak in this darkness that is colorless like snow on your fingers. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I really appreciate it.
Where will we cast our shadows again, like a burdensome load dragged down the corridor? Get up, for God's sake, I won't leave you here. There will be a bright, hopeful streak in this darkness that, light on the fire at the poles. New stems will break through the ashes toward the sky. On the leaves, in the bright rays, dew will glisten. Yes, I believe that there will be a bright and shining streak in this darkness that is without any sign of dawn, like snow at the pole. New stems will break through the ashes toward the sky. On the leaves in the rays of dawn, eyes will glisten. The waiting continues for us, a matchbox from the bush, but in the kitchen, a blue flower. The gas is burning. Cigarettes in hand, a warm cup of tea on the table. This is truly the simple and peaceful beauty of life. And there is truly nothing else, absolutely nothing else, because everything is already within us. The confusion in the hearts of the young has gradually turned into a bare hatch, a simple and open gateway, and now everything is going according to plan. Everything is going according to plan. To fate, yes, to retire. I promise not to take part in the war game, but on my cap the sickles are young and the light is strong, and all that remains for me is to wait and cry. I find myself reflecting on this promise, feeling both the weight of my decision and the uncertainty that lies ahead. The sickles on my cap, still young and shining brightly, remind me of hope and the strength I must hold on to. The light is strong, casting its glow over everything, yet I am left with nothing but time, waiting in quiet anticipation and feeling the tears gather as I think about what the future may bring. Subtitle is made automatically. Dima Torzok presented by